In the year 2150, deep within the uncharted expanses of the Milky Way, the crew of the United Earth vessel Horizon was about to make history. Commander Jack Ryland stared out the viewport at the shimmering starfield, his hands firmly behind his back. The excitement was palpable on the bridge as they approached the coordinates of the anomaly detected weeks earlier. "Status report, Lieutenant Michaels," Ryland commanded, his voice calm yet authoritative. "Sir, we're approaching the target. All systems are nominal, and the anomaly is now visible on the main screen," replied Lieutenant Eric Michaels, the ship's navigator, as he adjusted the display to enhance the view. The crew leaned in as the image clarified to reveal a massive metallic structure, unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. It was clearly not of human origin. "Could this be it? First contact?" whispered Ensign Kyle Harper, his eyes wide with awe. "It's possible, Ensign," Ryland acknowledged. "Stay sharp, everyone. Dr. Singh, what can you tell us?" Dr. Arav Singh, the mission's chief science officer, analyzed the readings. "It's definitely artificial, and it's emitting a low-frequency signal. It doesn't match any known human tech signatures." Ryland nodded, processing the information. "Communications, open a channel. Let's see if they're friendly." Lieutenant Jana Jo, the communications officer, adjusted her console. "Channel open, Commander." "Unknown vessel, this is Commander Jack Ryland of the United Earth vessel Horizon. We come in peace and wish to establish communication." The crew waited in silence, the tension building with each passing second. Suddenly the signal changed, and a voice filled the bridge, its tone mechanical, yet distinctly articulate. "Human vessel, we are the Zeltrons. We acknowledge your greeting. Why have you approached our domain?" Ryland took a breath, choosing his words carefully. "We are explorers, seeking to know more about the universe and the beings within it. We mean no intrusion." "There is much to discuss," the voice replied. "Prepare to receive coordinates for a meeting point. We will meet in person." As the coordinates streamed in, Ryland turned to his crew. "Michaels, plot a course. Dr. Singh, I want you and your team ready for any scenario. Joe, keep the communication lines open and monitor any changes in their signal." "Yes, sir," they responded in unison. The Horizon maneuvered towards the designated coordinates, a planet identified in the Zeltron system. The atmosphere aboard shifted from excitement to a mix of anticipation and anxiety about what would come next. Landing procedures initiated, Ryland addressed his team one last time before disembarking. "We don't know what awaits us down there. Stay alert, follow protocol, and keep communication lines open. Let's show them who we are, not just as a crew, but as a civilization." The landing party consisted of Ryland, Dr. Singh, Lieutenant Michaels, and Ensign Harper. Each member was equipped with translation devices, sensors, and defense gear. As they descended to the surface, a sprawling metropolis came into view, illuminated by lights and alive with movements that were distinctly non-human. The shuttle touched down gently on a designated landing pad, where a group of Zeltrons awaited. Tall and covered in shimmering scales, the Zeltrons had an air of solemnity about them. Ryland stepped forward, extending a hand. "I am Commander Ryland, representing the people of Earth." A tall Zeltron moved forward, his hand extending to meet Ryland's. "I am Zorath, governor of this sector. Welcome to our world, humans." The initial handshake was stiff, but signified the beginning of what was to be a historic encounter. Ryland looked back at his crew, a nod affirming their shared purpose. Whatever lay ahead, the destiny of humanity had irrevocably changed at that moment. The initial meeting with the Zeltrons, though outwardly cordial, had not gone unnoticed by other factions within the Zeltron political sphere. As Commander Jack Ryland and his team made their way back to the Horizon, the sense of unease grew. In the debriefing room aboard the Horizon, Ryland addressed his senior officers. "The Zeltrons are more complex than we initially thought. There are multiple factions at play, and not all are in favor of peace with us," he began, reviewing the data pads handed to him by Dr. Singh. Dr. Arav Singh chimed in. "The technology they possess is decades, maybe centuries beyond ours. Our scans detected advanced weaponry and shields. We need to tread carefully." Lieutenant Eric Michaels added, "The coordinates they provided for our next meeting are deep within their controlled space. It could be a trap." "Or a test," suggested Ensign Kyle Harper, always trying to find the positive angle. "Possibly," Ryland conceded. "Lieutenant Joe, what's the communication status?" "We've been monitoring all transmissions. There's a lot of chatter about our arrival, but nothing overtly hostile yet. I recommend keeping communications open but guarded," Lieutenant Jana Jo reported. "Agreed," Keep listening and record everything. We can use it to our advantage, Ryland commanded. As the Horizon prepared for the next meeting, a sudden burst of energy pulsed through the ship. Alarms blared, and the crew was jolted into high alert. Report, Ryland demanded as he steadied himself against the navigation console. Sir, we've been hit by an unknown energy weapon. Shields are holding but barely. It came from the Zeltron's direction, Michaels reported, his hands flying over the controls to regain stability. Evade and prepare for defensive maneuvers. Dr. Singh, get to the lab and figure out what hit us. Joe, open a line. Demand an explanation, Ryland ordered, his calm demeanor giving way to the tactical commander within. Joe's attempts to communicate were met with silence. The Zeltrons were not responding. Commander, I have something. Dr. Singh hurried back to the bridge, a sense of urgency in his voice. The weapon used against us seems to be a form of electromagnetic pulse, but far more advanced. It's designed to disable, not destroy. Perhaps a warning shot. A warning shot that could take out our main systems, Ryland muttered. All right, change of plans. We're not sitting ducks here. Michaels, plot a course back to the outer colonies, maximum speed. Harper, assist Dr. Singh with fortifying our shield technology, using the data he collected. As the Horizon sped away, another blast shook the ship, more powerful than the first. They're not letting us leave easily, Michaels said, his voice tense. We won't be bullied into retreat, Ryland declared firmly. Prepare all combat personnel. If they want a show of strength, we'll give it to them. With quick precision, the crew of the Horizon readied themselves for what was quickly escalating into the first interstellar conflict humanity had faced. In the midst of the chaos, Ryland's leadership was a grounding force for the crew. He knew the weight of his decisions could lead to war, but surrender was not a character trait of his command. As the ship reached the outer colonies, Ryland's resolve hardened. We'll defend our people and our colonies. This is our line in the sand. The Horizon taking a defensive position near Saturn's moon, Titan, where Earth's military reinforcements could quickly assemble. Ryland knew the Zeltrons would come, and when they did, humanity would be ready to stand its ground, not just for survival, but for the dignity of their species. The battle lines were drawn, and the next move would determine the fate of two civilizations. After a series of escalating encounters, Commander Jack Ryland recognized that understanding the Zeltrons beyond surface-level interactions was crucial. Without this knowledge, humanity was shooting in the dark, reacting rather than acting with strategic foresight. It was time for a bold move. Listen up, Ryland began, addressing a select group assembled in the Horizon's strategy room. We need intelligence, hard data on who the Zeltrons are, how they function, and what they want. We're going behind enemy lines. Lieutenant Eric Michaels, always ready for a challenge, was the first to respond. Commander, it's risky. If they caught us, it'd mean... I know what it means, Ryland cut him off firmly. But the risk of not knowing is greater. We do this carefully, covertly. Dr. Singh, you've cracked part of their communication code. I want you on this. Dr. Arav Singh nodded, his expression serious. We've made some progress with the Zeltron language, enough to get by. I can mask our communications to appear like theirs. And I'll modify one of our smaller shuttles to mimic their energy signatures. They won't see us coming, Michaels added, his mind already racing through the technical requirements. Good. Ensign Harper, you're with me. We'll need your navigation skills to get us through Zeltron territory unnoticed, Ryland decided, placing faith in the young ensign's abilities. The team worked tirelessly, modifying a shuttle for stealth and equipping it with the latest in espionage technology. Within 48 hours, they were ready to infiltrate the Zeltron domain. Cloaked by the void of space, the shuttle approached the Zeltron homeworld, a planet shrouded in mystery and protected by formidable defenses. Ryland and his team, disguised in suits that mimicked Zeltron technology, landed in a less populated area to avoid immediate detection. All right, everyone knows their role. Gather intel, avoid contact, and meet back here in 6 hours. Stay sharp, Ryland instructed before they split up to blend into the bustling alien city. Ryland, accompanied by Harper, ventured into the heart of the Zeltron capital. The city was a marvel of advanced technology and architecture, a stark contrast to the militaristic attitude they had shown. As they moved through the crowds, Ryland's communicator buzzed discreetly. Commander, I'm in their central tech hub. It's more advanced than we thought, but I think I can access their main database, Dr. Singh whispered over the line. Proceed, but don't push your luck, Ryland responded, keeping his voice low. Meanwhile, Michaels had made his way to a military installation, using a stolen access card to enter. Inside, he discovered schematics of Zeltron weaponry and defense systems, exactly the kind of information Earth needed. Back in the central hub, Dr. Singh successfully downloaded critical data but triggered a silent alarm in the process. "Commander, we have a problem. Security's been alerted. I need to get out now." "Regroup at the shuttle. Harper, with me," Reland ordered, his heart racing as they made their way back. The team rendezvoused, narrowly escaping pursuing Zeltron forces. As they lifted off the planet's surface, Ryland felt a mix of triumph and trepidation. They had the information they needed, but at what cost? The Zeltrons would now be on high alert, and the stakes of the conflict had just escalated. Returning to the horizon, Ryland immediately convened a meeting to review the stolen data. Insights into Zeltron society, their military capabilities, and potential weaknesses began to emerge from the shadows. "We have what we need to plan our next move," Ryland stated, looking over the data with a steely gaze. "We're not just defenders anymore. We're going to take the fight to them." The Horizon preparing for the next phase of their unexpected war, armed with newfound knowledge but facing a more vigilant enemy. Commander Jack Ryland's successful reconnaissance mission had provided humanity with vital intelligence on the Zeltrons. Now, armed with detailed knowledge of their technology and military tactics, Ryland faced the task of rallying Earth's disparate forces into a cohesive fighting unit. The threat was no longer distant or abstract. It was imminent and deadly. Back on Earth, in the United Nations' newly established war room, leaders from every continent sat around a massive holographic table displaying the Zeltron star systems and the potential battle zones. Ryland stood at the head of the table, his presence commanding attention. "Ladies and gentlemen," Ryland began, his voice resonant, "we have one chance to defend our home, one chance to prove that humanity will not bow to tyranny. We face an enemy with superior technology but not superior resolve." General Martinez, representing the European forces, leaned forward. "Commander Ryland, your mission gave us the data we needed, but uniting our forces will be a different kind of challenge. How do you propose we integrate our systems and strategies?" Ryland nodded, acknowledging the valid concern. "Integration is key. We start with joint training exercises immediately. We standardize our communications and weapon systems using the technology we've acquired. We also establish a unified chain of command." Dr. Arav Singh, now acting as Chief Technology Strategist, added, "We've begun reverse engineering the Zeltron technology. This includes their energy shields and propulsion systems. We'll need every manufacturing facility on Earth and our colonies working overtime." Lieutenant Eric Michaels, now promoted to captain, was tasked with overseeing the logistics of the global fleet assembly. "We're converting commercial docks into military outposts. Ship production is up by 40%, and we're retrofitting older models with Zeltron tech." Ensign Kyle Harper, responsible for navigation and strategy, chimed in with the tactical overlay. "We've mapped out Zeltron patrol routes and identified weak points in their border defenses. With precise strikes, we can carve a path straight to their core systems." Ryland's plan was bold and ambitious. He proposed a series of strikes designed to test Zeltron defenses and draw their fleets away from Earth. Simultaneously, a main strike force would push through the enemy's weakened lines to strike at their production capabilities. The proposal was met with mixed reactions. Admiral Chen of the Asian Coalition expressed concerns about the risk to civilian populations. "We need to ensure that our actions don't provoke the Zeltrons to an all-out attack on our cities." Ryland assured her, "Our plans include comprehensive civil defense measures. We're not just fighting for territory. We're fighting for the survival of our species. Every precaution has been taken to protect civilian lives." With a consensus reached, the next few weeks were a blur of activity. Earth's forces, once fragmented by national interests, were now united under a single banner. Training camps, shipyards, and research facilities operated around the clock. The global fleet, a mixture of every nation's best ships and crews, assembled near Mars, ready for the final briefing before the counteroffensive. Ryland addressed the assembled fleet via broadcast from the flagship Unity. "This is more than a fight for survival. This is our moment to stand as one people, one Earth, against a common enemy. We fight not just for today, but for the future of humanity." As the fleet prepared to jump to FTL towards their first target, the mood was one of determined optimism. The unity forged in the face of existential threat had transformed a collection of nations into a singular, formidable force. Ryland knew the battles ahead would be challenging, but he believed in the strength and the spirit of his people. The chapter closes with the Unity leading the charge, warping into the unknown, as Earth's united forces followed, ready to face whatever challenges awaited among the stars. As Commander Jack Ryland's United Earth fleet emerged from FTL travel near Titan, the cold, stark beauty of Saturn's rings contrasted sharply with the task at hand. The Zeltron forces, alerted to the sudden appearance of the human armada, scrambled to mount a defense. Titan, with its strategic position and resources, had become the unexpected epicenter of the first major battle between humanity and the Zeltrons. From the command deck of the flagship Unity, Ryland surveyed the battle preparations. "All ships, report status," he ordered, his voice steady over the comm. One by one, captains from the multinational fleet responded with readiness. The air was thick with anticipation, and every crew member knew the weight of what was to come. Captain Eric Michaels, aboard the cruiser Vanguard, coordinated the fleet's formation. "Fleet in position, Commander. We have the element of surprise. Zeltron reinforcements are still mobilizing." Ryland nodded, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Initiate the first strike. Target their defense platforms. We need to clear a path for our fighters." The battle commenced with a brilliant flurry of ion blasts and missile launches, lighting up the void of space with violent bursts of color. Humanity's ships, enhanced with Zeltron technology, proved their worth, breaching the Zeltron shields more effectively than anticipated. On the Unity, Ensign Kyle Harper worked feverishly alongside the navigation team, plotting real-time maneuvers and avoiding incoming fire. "New flight paths uploaded, pilots are green for go," he reported, his voice a beacon of efficiency amidst the chaos. Dr. Arav Singh, monitoring the Zeltron communications, intercepted troubling transmissions. "Commander, the Zeltrons are planning a counterstrike with a heavy cruiser squadron. They're fast and heavily armed." "Divert Group Delta to intercept. We can't let them flank us," Ryland responded immediately, adjusting his strategy with practiced ease. The battle raged for hours. Human pilots executed daring runs against Zeltron warships, while ground forces engaged enemy troops on Titan's surface. Amidst the turmoil, a critical opportunity arose when a Zeltron command ship was spotted near the rear guard. Ryland seized the moment. "All units, focus fire on that command ship. It's the key to their coordination. Bring it down." The coordinated assault on the Zeltron command ship was a spectacle of precision and bravery. Torpedoes and lasers converged on the alien vessel, ultimately breaching its hull and causing a catastrophic failure. With the command ship destroyed, the Zeltron forces on Titan descended into disarray. Utilizing the disruption, Ryland ordered a full-scale advance. "Press the attack. Drive them back. This is our chance to turn the tide." By the battle's end, the ground of Titan was claimed by Earth's forces, marking a significant victory. The loss of their command ship and many of their troops demoralized the Zeltron military presence in the sector, giving humanity not just a tactical win, but a boost in morale. Exhausted yet exhilarated, Ryland and his crew took stock of their gains and losses. The victory at Titan had provided valuable resources and a strategic foothold in the solar system. More importantly, it demonstrated that the Zeltrons were not invincible. As Ryland reviewed the battle reports, his resolve hardened. This victory was crucial, but he knew it was only the beginning of what promised to be a long and arduous conflict. With Earth's forces rallied and a significant enemy blow dealt, Ryland prepared to take the war deeper into Zeltron territory, setting the stage for humanity's next moves in a war for their very survival. Following the pivotal victory at Titan, Commander Jack Ryland knew that momentum was on humanity's side. It was time to capitalize on this advantage and launch a full-scale counteroffensive into Zeltron territory. As Ryland strategized with his top advisors aboard the flagship Unity, the mood was one of cautious optimism. "We've broken their line, but we can't underestimate their capacity for retaliation," Ryland addressed his war council, which included military leaders from various Earth coalitions. "Our next step is to disrupt their supply chains and hit their production facilities." Captain Eric Michaels, now seasoned by the fires of battle, pointed to a series of holographic star maps. "These are the Zeltron production hubs we've identified from the data Dr. Singh extracted. If we take these out, we cripple their ability to maintain fleet numbers and weapon supplies." Dr. Arav Singh, monitoring Zeltron communications, added, "Their messages show confusion and a lack of coordinated command since we took out their command ship at Titan. This is our best chance to strike." With the target set, Ryland mobilized his fleet. The operation was to be a series of coordinated strikes, with diversionary tactics to spread the Zeltron forces thin. Special units, led by Ryland himself, would infiltrate key facilities to set charges and gather further intelligence. The first target was a massive shipyard orbiting a gas giant in the Zeltron outer system. As the Unity and its support ships approached, Ryland briefed his special ops teams. Remember, speed and stealth. Get in, plant the charges, and get out before they know what's hit them. The operation commenced under the cover of a simulated attack on the opposite side of the system, drawing Zeltron defensive fleets away from the shipyard. Human fighter squads engaged in intense dogfights with Zeltron drones, while Ryland's team infiltrated the shipyard. Inside, they encountered minimal resistance, a testament to the effectiveness of their diversion. Charges set, Ryland gave the signal, and the team exfiltrated moments before a series of explosions rocked the facility, sending shockwaves through the Zeltron defensive structure. Encouraged by the success, Ryland pushed his fleet forward, targeting a series of smaller supply depots and communication arrays. Each strike added to the chaos within the Zeltron ranks, further demoralizing their troops and disrupting their logistics. Ensign Kyle Harper, tasked with plotting fleet movements and strike paths, noted, "Their response times are getting slower. We're starting to predict their moves almost before they make them." As the campaign progressed, the human forces began to encounter stronger resistance. The Zeltrons, realizing the threat to their core systems, started to consolidate their forces, leading to more intense and dangerous confrontations. During a particularly fierce battle near a critical Zeltron communication hub, Ryland's forces found themselves outnumbered but not outmatched. Using the superior tactics and coordination that had become their hallmark, the human fleet managed to secure the hub, severely crippling the Zeltron communication network. With each victory, the human forces gathered more Zeltron technology, enhancing their ships and weapons with alien innovations. This technological assimilation not only bolstered their combat effectiveness, but also provided key insights into Zeltron strategies and weaknesses. As Ryland reviewed the latest battle data, he knew that while the war was far from over, the tide had decidedly turned in humanity's favor. The Zeltrons were now on the defensive, reeling from the relentless human advance. Ryland's strategy of rapid, unpredictable strikes had proven effective, and he prepared his next moves with the ultimate goal of reaching the Zeltron homeworld. The counteroffensive, though costly, had paved the way for what could be the final chapters of this interstellar conflict. The relentless pressure of Commander Jack Ryland's counteroffensive had pushed the Zeltron forces back to the edge of their territory. With the Zeltron military infrastructure severely compromised and their command structure in disarray, the human fleet prepared for what Ryland believed could be the decisive strike. Aboard the flagship Unity, in orbit around a neutral planet near the Zeltron border, Ryland convened his top commanders for a strategic briefing. The room was charged with a mix of anticipation and the weight of responsibility. "Our intelligence indicates that the Zeltrons have pulled back to defend their homeworld. They're likely preparing for a last stand," Ryland began, his gaze fixed on the star map displaying their next target. "This won't be like the other skirmishes. Expect heavy resistance." Captain Eric Michaels interjected. "Our latest scans show they've activated an ancient defense system around their planet. It's unlike anything we've encountered before." Dr. Arav Singh, analyzing the data, added, "It appears to be some sort of doomsday device, capable of massive destruction. If they feel threatened enough, they might use it not only against us but as a scorched earth tactic against their own planet." The revelation cast a sobering pall over the room. Ryland, ever the tactician, contemplated their options. "We need a plan that minimizes the risk of them activating this device. A direct assault is too risky." Ensign Kyle Harper suggested, "What if we feigned a retreat, make them think we're backing off, lowering their guard, and then we launch a focused strike not on the planet, but on the device itself?" Ryland considered this, nodding slowly. "A surgical strike. Michaels, prepare your squad for a covert operation. You'll take a small fleet of our fastest ships, slip past their main defenses, and disable the device. It's high risk, but it might be our best shot." As preparations for the mission went underway, the human fleet feigned disarray and withdrawal, broadcasting false signals and engaging in deceptive maneuvers. Meanwhile, Michaels and his elite team, equipped with the most advanced stealth technology derived from captured Zeltron equipment, made their way towards the ominous device orbiting the Zeltron homeworld. The tension was palpable as Michaels' squad approached the device, their ships cloaked and silent. As they neared, the scale of the Zeltron weapon became clear. It was a colossal structure, bristling with unknown technologies and ominous energy readings. Using the skills honed through countless battles, the team executed a daring plan. They deployed a series of EMP pulses to disable the external sensors, followed by a precision strike on the control hub. The operation was fraught with danger, every moment carrying the risk of detection and catastrophic retaliation. Back on the Unity, Ryland monitored the operation, ready to call in the full might of the human fleet should the need arise. The moments stretched into agonizing minutes as they awaited confirmation. Finally, the signal came through. Success. Michael's voice, steady and triumphant, relayed the news. "Commander, the device is disabled. The threat is neutralized." With the Doomsday device out of play, Rayland ordered a full advance. The human fleet moved in, not to destroy, but to seize control and force a surrender. As they approached the Zeltron homeworld, Ryland broadcast a message to the entire Zeltron leadership. "This is Commander Jack Ryland of the United Earth Forces. Your Doomsday weapon is disabled. We do not wish to destroy your world or your people. Surrender now, and we will spare your planet. Resist, and the consequences are on your hands." The waiting game began. Ryland's offer hung in the space between the fleets, a final chance for peace after a long and brutal conflict. As the human ships stood ready, the response finally came. The Zeltrons, facing utter defeat without their ultimate weapon, agreed to negotiate. The shift was dramatic and sudden. From the brink of mutual destruction, both sides stepped back, paving the way for a tense yet hopeful dialogue. Ryland's strategy had paid off, but the real work of forging a lasting peace was just beginning. As negotiations started, the future remained uncertain, but for the first time in this long conflict, there was a real hope for resolution. With the Zeltron Doomsday device neutralized and their homeworld vulnerable, the Zeltron leadership was forced into a precarious position. Commander Jack Ryland's strategic gamble had brought them to the negotiation table, but he was aware that the peace forged in the shadow of conflict was fragile and could unravel at any moment. On board the flagship Unity, now orbiting the Zeltron homeworld, Ryland met with his senior staff to discuss the terms they would present. The atmosphere was tense, with the knowledge that the decisions made here would shape the future relationship between humanity and the Zeltron race. "Let's be clear, we're not here to conquer or to humiliate," Ryland stated firmly. "We want a stable peace. They surrender their offensive capabilities, and we'll assist them in rebuilding. We'll monitor their compliance, but we also extend our help in ensuring their society doesn't collapse." Captain Eric Michaels, ever the tactician, raised a concern. "We need to be cautious, Commander. Their military might be down, but desperation can lead to unpredictability. Our presence in their system needs to be strong, at least until we're certain of their intentions." Dr. Arav Singh, looking at the cultural implications, added, "It's not just a military surrender we need, it's their trust. We should propose cultural exchanges, scientific collaboration. Let's show them what true partnership can look like." As Ryland mulled over these inputs, a communication came through from the Zeltron leadership, inviting him to the surface for a final round of talks. Deciding to lead the delegation himself, Ryland set foot on the Zeltron world, a planet marked by the scars of war yet holding the potential for new growth. The negotiation venue was the Great Hall of Zora, a city that had seen significant destruction in the earlier phases of the war. The damage served as a somber backdrop for the talks, reminding all parties of the war's toll and the necessity of peace. Zeltron Governor Zorath, who had initially been resistant to any talks, now stepped forward, his demeanor changed. "Commander Ryland, we accept that our position is compromised. We are prepared to disarm and rebuild, but we ask for respect for our sovereignty and assurances that Zeltron interests will be protected." Ryland responded, understanding the need for dignity and surrender. "Governor Zorath, we respect your people and your culture. We seek no retribution, only assurance of security for all. These terms are designed not as a punishment, but as a foundation for a lasting peace." The discussions were lengthy and at times fraught with tension, but eventually a treaty was drafted. The Zeltrons would disarm their interstellar capabilities and submit to Earth-led inspections. In return, Earth would assist in rebuilding efforts and establish a joint council to oversee both the transition to peace and the ongoing relations. After the treaty was signed, Ryland stood before a gathering of both human and Zeltron citizens in the city square, publicly announcing the end of hostilities. "Today, we begin a new chapter, one not written in the language of war, but in the dialect of peace and cooperation." The Zeltrons, subdued but visibly relieved, slowly began to show support for the treaty, clapping hands that had only recently been raised in defense. As Ryland returned to the Unity, He looked back at the planet, its cities beginning to light up as power and hope were restored. He felt a mix of exhaustion and accomplishment. The war was over, but the journey towards a deep and lasting peace was just starting. Back on Earth, news of the treaty was met with celebration and relief. Humanity had not only survived its first interstellar conflict, but had emerged with a newfound sense of unity and purpose. Ryland's leadership had been pivotal, but, as he often stated, it was the bravery and resilience of his crew and the willingness of the Zeltrons to embrace change that truly ended the war. As the Unity set course back to Earth, Ryland knew that the real challenge lay ahead, building peace where there had once been only war.